You're now tuned in to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, and I'm your host, Lady Charmaine. And as always, I have another great interview for you today. And if you want to know who it is, you got to stick around. I tell you who it is coming up right after this. My guest today helps bring balance and a new form of structure to households around the country. And she is here today to talk about her show and help parents get through the new normal of homeschooling their kids through the COVID-19 crisis. And she's not just a nanny, she is a Supernanny. Help me welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, Miss Jo Frost. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So, Jo, we were just talking briefly off the air. How are you staying safe during this time of shelter in place?
Providing public service for families that need the help. Most importantly, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, as you can imagine, the lines were off the chart with respect to emails and people on my social media platforms, very overwhelmed, very anxious. So if you go to jofrost.com, you can contact me there on an email. You may have a parental challenge or a challenge in this pandemic right now, or on Twitter. I designate time to answer concise questions from families so I can continue to provide this service for families in this uncertain time. But also I'm looking after my grandson right now, who's 5.5. That's been beautiful actually, to have the opportunity. His father's working in the hospitals and his mother's doing voluntary work, and we have the opportunity to be able to keep him safe and look after him here, whilst at the same time, I'm able to be able to help families. And I think, that's what's key right now is making sure that families have, less anxiousness, feel less overwhelmed in times that feel so uncertain. So I wanted to, if I may, just to say one thing that is sort of coming at me every day. And that's the importance of home schooling. So many families were panicked about how they were going to get through homeschooling. And I want to say this, parents, we're at home right now in a crisis trying to homeschool. Just think about that for a moment, because we're not homeschoolers. We're in a crisis trying to homeschool. So do your best, because your best is enough right now. If you're speaking to your teachers and you're going through a few things, and let's face it, teachers have a different task at hand now as well, you'll do the best you can. And the best is good enough right now, because there's enough stress and worry on the family. We don't need this to be an extra stress or concern. So do the best that you can. Make sure that you have a structure in place that allows you to be able to have flexibility, which means get up with intention and purpose, get dressed, make your bed, sit down and have breakfast together as a family, and then do the best that you can with the education. Because right now, in the long term, when it comes to mental health, it is not going to be education that's going to insulate your children from that. But you spending time with them and talking to them and connecting and laughing and giving them those extra hugs and kisses and just spending those moments together is what is going to help your children feel happier, more secure, feel that embrace of your comfort that children receive from their parents and carers that make them feel more stable. And that's what we need right now. There are a lot of teenagers who are very anxious and looking to cope with such stress. They are also missing, their friends and so spending time online. So I would say it's important to keep the cornerstones of a routine, so at least we can have some normalcy in our day where we can come together for lunches and dinners. We can appreciate the time that we hang out as a family. There may be a parent that was busy working so much that they never had time to spend really with their teenagers, and now they get a chance to connect, do something new, maybe learn a new game. Perhaps right now it's being able to have a conversation where you can listen and validate conversations that you've never had before, you know?
That, and that is so true, because that's what we're doing in our household. And Joe, you just said that you had a 5.5-year-old grandson, and you and I looked up how old you are. We're the same age. And I have a 6-year-old son, not grandson. I'm like, okay, I'm really behind the 8 ball here. So I wanted to ask you, growing up, because you have so much knowledge to help children, and you're not just a nanny. As I said, you're a super nanny. You're also the star of Super Nanny on Lifetime. What was it like growing up in your household? Did you get a lot of your parenting ways from your parents, or was these some things that you learned along the way?
Well, I certainly feel the values of who I am as a human being, certainly, as far as, my mother and father were very charitable people who, gave a lot to their community. I had, a fun childhood. It was one where we were out playing, which is not the luxury we have for families right now in this pandemic. But really, 30 years for me of being in the childcare arena, So I started off professionally as a nanny, and then went into private consultation for families at their most troubled times, or sometimes families that just wanted to know best how to move forward in that first year of bringing home a newborn, or travel, or transitions. So 30 years in this arena has given me the expertise and the wisdom to be able to talk, about how we best can connect with our families and resolve the challenges that you see me do every week when I'm helping a family on the Supernanny show or any other shows, that you see me do. However, in this pandemic, we are all parenting the same. For the first time, we are in this catastrophic situation, this crisis that has been very overwhelming, and it takes time for us to adjust to that. There is first the disbelief, the fight or flight. And we saw the fight or flight when people started rushing to the supermarkets and stockpiling, and there was this pandemonium, and then we saw families that were frozen in disbelief. They were just frozen. They couldn't believe it was happening. They didn't believe it was happening. They were disillusioned. This cannot be. We're now going into our, third, fourth week. I have, correspondence with Europe and London and what's going on here in America. And we're starting now to understand that we're adjusting to this. We've got into the space of recognizing that there has been different demands put on us. We have to recognize as families what we let go of and what we recognize we cannot control, because there is no point in wasting time worrying about something that we cannot control or change. But let's focus and change the mindset on focusing what we can do at home that allows us to be more grounded, and in turn creates our own sanctuary, so that it's an environment that's conducive to us all feeling mentally healthier as we get through these measures of being in lockdown until otherwise. And I will tell you that with homeschooling, we will do the best that we can, and that is good enough right now. We will have a routine to set up, but if we have pajama days, fine. But, those other days, it's important to stay motivated. So get up and Adam, and, get dressed and have the day with intention. Let's focus together on gratitude because it focuses on the positive. It's a ritual that I've always done. It's one that I continue to do in this pandemic. I have my grandson, as I said with you, we sit around the table at breakfast and at dinner time, and we hold hands and we say, what are we thankful for this morning? And after the end of a day, at dinner time, we say, what are we thankful for? And some of those moments, listening to my 5.5-year-old talk about what he's thankful for, they've left me in tears at the table. You know, it's like, Nanny Jo, why are you crying? I said, because I'm so touched by what you've said. You know, and I just think that there's a lot of growth in this pain that we are all feeling right now, and in being able to just take a moment to breathe, to take a moment to feel in gratitude of where we are, to work hard on keeping present, which means to be mindful, you know, taking that space of being able to say, okay, today, how am I feeling really today?
Right.
Not like, oh, yeah, I'm good, yeah, I'm fine. How am I really feeling today? Allows us to emotionally check in with ourselves so that if you're a parent right now who is listening to this and saying, you know what, today I'm feeling really anxious, today I'm feeling really overwhelmed, today I'm feeling like I'm a parent who couldn't get anything right, then today I say be a parent who's kind to yourself. Be a parent that doesn't do the schoolwork today, that turns around and says, I need a day to chill. I need a day where I can just hug my kids, play some funny games, relax, dance around in the kitchen to some music, hang out with the children, and let it go for a moment. Because, you know, right now things are tough enough as they are. And we've got to be able to give ourselves permission right now to recognize that our mental health is important. Otherwise, we will have a lot worse health conditions, you know, in our own homes because, you know, we'll be in a state of that, you know. So it is important for us to move. I do want to say social distancing is so important, so important. But let's get out as a family and move for an hour, take a brisk walk, look at nature, feel the fresh, crisp air on our face. If the sunshine's breaking out, feel that warmth because it's good for us, it's good for our immune systems. Let's eat healthy and create the cornerstones that we would in a routine. Let's make sure that we're socializing. We are a human species that do very well at thriving in connecting. So let's make sure that we do that online. And let's use the technology not as a crutch, but at its true purpose to work as a tool, whether that's for connecting with our friends and loved ones, whether that's for a little bit of entertainment and fun, or whether that's for educational purposes with how we get through our school before we all break for the summer holidays. It will allow us to sleep better, so that we're getting the sleep that we need. And let's remember to laugh. It's a great tonic. So let's have moments where we're watching stuff that make us all laugh and have some fun as well, because we certainly need humor at times like this to get us through, you know?
Absolutely. Well, Jo, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for letting everyone know how they're absolutely able to reach you during this time. And it was a pleasure, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much. Take care and be safe out there.
You too. Bye-bye.